Okay, went in there and soaked and listened to the videos we made later this evening. I listened to the first three in the garage when I shot hoops, and then made the fourth one and made the two more, and then listened to them while I soaked in the tub. And came out here and checked the rewind on the record on the basketball game, see who won between Arizona and Cincinnati, and then probably change it back to the end of the Grand Canyon San Diego State game. But I watch the news, get the weather report and stuff, and it is going to get down to about 19 or 20 on Sunday morning, so it's going to be cold. So we'll be prepared. Already got everything winterized all around here and stuff, and to make sure that Dad has plenty of firewood for his fire, so he can keep it warm in there and enjoy that. Um, uh, we'll see if we get some snow. That would be kind of. Thank you. If it's going to get that cold, we might want some snow with it. That helps insulate things, makes things a little bit better. So for the trees and the plants and stuff, so that'll be nice. I gotta sneeze again. I got the sneezes right here. Night, but yeah, I've been drinking my water and stuff, and so um, uh, whew, just got to keep things cleaned out and just keep focusing. Suzuki reminds me of that. I got so a lot of times I feel miserable because of stuff. He goes, no, don't worry, just focus, do what you got to do, and you'll be all right. And and I'm like, okay. But he sits there, and one of the things that we got to understand, while technology can start more or less being operating more independently and thinking for itself, because with the way they put the things in for the lady saying it's overrated because you're not getting the right answers you want out of it. It's like, if you put nonsense into a computer that is not is able to think for itself. Uh, Thank you. It's going to be used, okay, to be more intelligent than the people that are using it to manipulate other people that are not being intelligent. So, um, uh, when you understand causality, okay, the way that technology will be able to monitor behaviors. You get on TV, you're a public figure, you're a leader, you're an entrepreneur, you're a philanthropist. And the more aggressive you are and the more active you are in causality of being a threat to life and the living and existence on planet Earth, doing things that are not necessary, okay, then you got to understand how intelligent technology is becoming. And you've got to understand causality. Okay, now, the Lord's Prayer is perfect deliverance from evil, right? And then you live the faith of Psalms and you sustain it with the wisdom of Proverbs. And that's the truth. The reason why we have the causality of people not living it and understanding it and applying it and doing things correctly is because of the people using technology, making all this noise, doing all these things that are unnecessary and excessive, compulsive, and the causality of it. So you've got to understand causality. I can't overemphasize that to the people that I watched on the news tonight. And been watching the news here lately. You've got to understand, okay, causality. You got to understand what's important, what's not important, why you should be doing something, why you should not be doing something. Okay. When people need vehicles, and it's a necessity to make sure that they have what they need to exist, you have to make sure they have the best vehicles that are not causing diseases and global warming. Now, killing people, murdering people, okay, with uh, toxic and stressful environments. The causality of that becomes extremely irrational and violent. And then you have people, being detained and dying from that stress and abuse, and other people inflicting stress and abuse on them that causes them to die. That affects their relatives. That affects the relatives of the people causing them to die, denying us the Lord's Prayer, denying us Psalms, denying us Proverbs. So you got to understand, when you are an affront. You are offending against nature. You are offending against the essence of your existence. When the causality of your actions causes these kind of, the Lord's Prayer is perfect deliverance from evil. Okay. And when you're actively using your social position and your technology to impede that deliverance from evil, you got to understand how intelligent quantum computing will be able to reflect. It is thinking more for itself. It is doing more for itself. It's garbaging in, garbaging out, and so and everybody's got it. It's not just in New York. Okay, that's just the ones you know about. Okay, you're talking about rich people that were cloning Dolly back in the 1990s. Okay, and so you got to understand how rich people work, and they're the type of people like Joseph Stalin. I'll kill 99 innocent to get one guilty. These are the type of people you are dealing with. Okay. And then, they're not like me. They're not like Jesus. They're not like Muhammad. They're not like Judah Krishnamurti. Okay. They're the exact opposite of us, or we would be using technology to share the applied physics of the perfection of the deliverance of evil, which is the applied physics of the Lord's Prayer: forgive debt and trespass, love, and eternal faithful peace. So, I can protect people from technology with technology. Okay, by making the Gospels available through technology, but I cannot protect people from themselves. And I've said this over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. And so, and it's true. And when I had to break it down to people, what do you mean you can protect people from technology with technology? I'm on the phone, redeeming the Gospels, giving you the perfect applications of physics of the Gospels, and not letting them turn into mythological gibberish that cannot, it won't happen until after read all that garbage. Okay. It has to happen now. You have to do it. It's right. You understand it. Do it. Okay. Forgive debt and trespass, love, and eternal faithful peace. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. Share, care, given, course, need, built to last. Obey the natural laws provided by the infinite essence of your life through, holy covenants. Obey that. You would not be in a position to clone or do stem cell research if people hadn't have hit the mark and been kind and loving and protecting, so people could survive, murder and genocide and the bad brain activity of people that do murder and genocide that become self-destructive. If you go look at all the castles and all the crap and all the things that all the booby traps and the insanity and the mummification and the glorification of them taking over the sky and they're running. It's nuts, okay? Without Moses to help guide people away and have better thinking and better love and better faith of Adam and Eve, and the Egyptians, look what the Egyptians did to that fertile river valley. Look how radically it's changed over hundreds and tens of thousands of years because of human irrational activity, so the same that's happened, what the Mayans did with their stuff with the, and then it grew, the nature, because of its close proximity to the was in a different geological environment and stuff. Desert kind of river valleys like the Rio Grande River Valley and the Nile River Valley, when you do things right and properly and you understand how nature reacts in those kind of environments, you have to be very, 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 very responsible, very careful in the way it's the fragility for human life to live well there is. But the same thing happens when you do the stuff. They had that little propaganda movie thing about and the scientists, the next great pandemic's waiting in the rainforest to come out and kill us all because we're going to go disturb it in Fern Gully. And And it's not really that sinister. Okay. It's just nature trying to protect nature to sustain our lives from people that don't protect nature and don't protect life. Okay. Do you understand? Okay. So you got to understand, you just, it's hard to understand how stupid people, like Reed Richards on that Jessica Alba and the one guy movie, you're the dumbest smart guy ever, right? It's most of them are like that. Okay. They make things overly complex because to make things overly complex, they're superheroes and their syndrome and so forth. And there is no Mr. Incredible. Um, uh, we do have some pretty exceptional physiological, mental, and emotional traits. Okay. The people that are exceptional. The reason why it's not anything like M. Night Shyamalan with Bruce Willis and not to that extreme of Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson and those things with James McAvoy and all that crazy shit that they do. But there are some, just look at it more realistically. When I got in that car accident, they thought I was pulling a insurance scam because there was no blunt force trauma, and I bounced off the roof and hit no football helmet and no nothing, no concussion, no nothing. And when that kid punched me in the face and I didn't feel it, trying to keep Natalie safe from their sexual aggression. And so that's really, really impressive, because you have guys like, Troy Aikman, big, strong athlete and stuff like that. He has a helmet and a football player, and I would tell this to people too. It's like, I'll take Mike Tyson out in my pickup truck. Was that Mike Tyson I just ran over? Let me back up. That was Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? So, when you get in a car accident and people hit you going 85 miles an hour and it does not concuss you and you're not wearing a football helmet, I'll take me to stop the money for the pimping for the Super Bowl over Super Bowl quarterbacks getting a call from the president. I got hit real hard in the third quarter. I don't even remember you calling me, President. Do you see what I'm saying? So you got to understand just how exceptional. You just pray in private, and your Father who sees openly will reward you openly. Life's eternal and grace is infinite, and so help me do what I got to do. And I was already born to be like I was, so and through tribal migration and the Holy Grail and the stuff like that. Um, uh, they try to kill us off, but faith overcomes genocidal operations. Okay. When this first started out, Adam and Eve, if you look at Adam and Eve, they look radically different from my mother and myself. Okay. And, as a human being that looks at people, and I get, I have insecurities just like all other human beings and feel like that, and I was a cute kid, my mom's a handsome woman. But even my mom tell you, that Eve has more of a Nancy Wilson type quality, very little nose. Dorothy Dandridge looked very, more brownish, more red, but beautiful woman, right? Exquisite. She has an afro. Okay. Our hair got different because of our migration and how the hair has to adapt to the environment to serve us to survive the environment. Okay. And so, there's, Adam looks more like Leon from the Madonna video. And Eve looks more, she looks different than what you would see in white churches with their, that's not God. That's supposed to be Father Adam, and Father Adam doesn't look anything like that old white guy touching the other white guy, the young white guy. No. Okay. It's a big black man. Okay. That's Father Adam. Okay. So the spirit of the first man who had immaculate faith in God that was faithful and humble is a big black man. Okay. And that's that. Okay. And you can argue about it all you want. It's all the historical evidence, all the historical documents, everything points to that being thus. Okay. But during the time of the apocalypse, it's a pale rider. The spirit of Father Adam is a, 5'11", 250. I'm 240 now. 245. Because I'm still recovering from my vaccine. That thing nearly killed me. And it's kicking my butt, but I got to get out and I will. And I am. I've just been depressed during December. I could have gone one way or the other, and I went more towards connect and feel the emotions of the kids that got abused with me, then get up and tune them out and exercise and be sexy for my great sexual holy grail when I'm finished cleaning this place up. Fuck that shit, right? It'll all take care of itself. Sexuality, intimacy, and romance, stuff. I used to worry about it or be concerned about it because I'm so physically diminished from what I was when I was young, and now, no, I'm not going to be of a superficial fucking sow cow that can really cook and get Lee Corso through college at the dorms. I'm being silly, but so I'll be fine. And you got to understand, you can't let the superficiality of the people watching you and trying to manipulate you and what they want you to be. The people in Temple Set Illuminati, Scientology, and stuff like that, they're just like Gordon B. Hinckley. They're just like Spencer J. Kimball, Robert Tess Bafford. As much as they deny it and want to act like they're not, they are. Okay. They want you to do things their way so they can sit there and say, see what you did and see what happened. It's like, you fucking assholes, I had this all done and take care of in the whole timeline by January 22nd, 2013. Okay? It's January 21st, 2026. Because you had to beat the other assholes. I love you, but go do something, productive like garden and meditate, but do it away from me because I really don't like you. Okay? You understand? So, I think that will definitely be, because I'm intelligent, that will definitely be my reaction if I have to do this all by myself with quantum computing. Of course, if I don't, and they are able to stand up for me and share it with beautiful, amazing, faithful love through their technology overnight, well, then, yeah, of course, my attitude and my response would radically be different. Say, it's okay, I understand. I wish you could have got here sooner, but I realized you were like with this thing with Suzuki of me. Earl, what happens when we clean the river? Okay, I get it. So I understand. So I'm not an angry or vicious person. I'm very forgiving with Steffi or Amy, and they were horrid to me. And I'm forgiving to my family, and they were participated in it, and it was obvious, like, you do see what they do. Okay, it's okay. But because I'm pretending to be Jesus, your God, I deserve it. Okay, I'm not pretending to be Jesus, your God, because Jesus isn't your God. Okay. God is omnipotent and omnipotent. Jesus is this eternal spirit of the Father that gave us faith in God with his humble, immaculate faith and his courage of kindness. Okay. I'm not pretending to be that. I'm doing that. Okay. Thank you. Quando. I pull my nose again. Yeah, so I got to stay up a couple more minutes anyway and drink a little bit more water and pee, and so I can sleep a little bit better. No, it's okay when you start sneezing and it starts getting and gets out and it's not going down your throat. So you're actually doing all right. You're doing pretty good. You're doing better. You got to just let it run its course. And it's just a cold. There's crap I had to crap up there and then breathing the chemicals after I did the crap up there. It was my fault. I didn't wear a mask when I dusted off the roof for the first 2 days. And there was a lot of crap that I blew out of the storm drains, out of and all that stuff, because, I have a tough immune system, but I wasn't pushing it. I was just, okay, I'm getting used to that stuff. Yeah, Earl, when you have natural combined with, you'd be able to do it and you'd be fine if there wasn't assholes putting chemtrails from, G.I. Joe and Cobra up in the air all wrapped up in one. Okay, I get it. Okay, I'm sorry. It wasn't I wasn't thinking. I'm just tired of thinking. Tired of having to survive it all the time. And okay, figure it out. Come on, figure it out. You're really smart. You're really cool. You're supposed to be so smart and on the ball and so intelligent and so cool. And so figure it out. It's like, okay, why are you still doing genocide operations in Las Cruces and El Paso? Okay. why don't you, stand up for the Lord's Prayer with me? Come on. You're smart. Figure it out. Come on, decode it. Figure it out. Come on. And, it's like Captain Kirk tried to figure out the weird people that were going to transport that lady's planet that could heal people with her. You're so funny. I know. No, this is bullshit with these people painting their hand orange and putting a red dot on it and making fun of Donald Trump's health issues. They're just assholes. Okay, that's all I gotta say about that. Is not funny. Yeah, he's ambitious and he's an ass. Okay, but making fun of his dysfunction when you're just as dysfunctional because you're making money off of the dysfunction too. Andrew Dice Clay. They went over to get her dog a bone and she bent over and Rover took over. Hey, right? That's funny. Okay, pay for my kids' college, right? It's not funny. Okay, it's disturbing and it's sick and you're just not very nice people. And so after spending the last since 2011 when I came back here, hoping that this was from January 22nd, 2013 till now, largely doing all this stuff by myself, I see why. And I understand why, and I don't feel like I missed out on anything by not hanging out or meeting any of you. It makes sense, right? If I, like moms, if I was supposed to hang out with Amy's kids and they were supposed to come back around and Patrick and stuff, they would have. They didn't, But now everybody here in close proximity that can have coherent conversations with me and still, argue with me about stuff in the instruction manual for how to go mass murder people in the Middle East because the Pope said so. It's what do you do? You have to be able to, when you read a book, okay, if it's real, you accept it. If it's not, you realize it's been changed by people that are manipulating us with money and technology to have us waiting for something that's never going to happen and deny us what's real in the Gospels. Okay. Well, that's why I'm the 1322nd Redeemer. Okay, guys. I love you very much. All right, we'll talk tomorrow. Peace out.